Hello, Abe. How are
Ariel,
you?
how are you?
Good.
Where are we at?
67. Which is,
Yeah, were we holding 66?
no, 67.
67. Okay. Very good.
What is that jacket? On
No, she
one
says
side,
it's a knit. It's a knit. It has a moon and a brute.
what is it, a peach?
It's a peach, yeah, peach and a moon. You don't have a peach and a moon on your sweater?
No.
We, what do you think of that house yesterday?
Which house?
Where the engagement party was?
What engagement? I didn't go.
You didn't go?
Whose engagement?
For Sarah.
Oh, I didn't go.
Oh,
I wasn't
It's
invited.
a very small house. I'd have to go.
Which house is it? The guy's house?
it's the boy's stepfather.
Oh,
It's 36,000 square feet.
oh, okay. So he's a
He-
Houthi?
He's a Persian.
Yeah, a Houthi. My
Oh,
kids call them a Houthi.
He's
yeah.
not. He's not a Persian. He's in Israel. He's an Egyptian Israeli, and she's Israeli. He's never not a Persian.
Other Egyptians?
Yeah.
Oh, he didn't walk like an Egyptian.
Yeah. Right, Harold.
They're Egyptian. I didn't know that. Wow.
The father.
The father, Manny, is an Egyptian.
Oh man, it's right. Yeah, it's not even a Persian name. You're right. Hmm.
What's his name?
Not his
Danny Manny.
Oh,
Mani is the last name.
funny, I wasn't told. Hmm. Anyhow,
Good
Ernie
evening,
Mazel
everyone.
Tov.
Thank you.
evening.
What
The,
happened? Mazel Tov. What
Got
happened?
published
Oh, nice.
in a medical journal.
the editor of that journal is Irv Lebovic's brother. His brother is a cardiologist, and he's editor of that journal.
Who's that? Walter, that's your dog?
Yeah, who's the editor of the journal? What's his name?
Edward Lebovitz. That's Irving Lebovitz's brother.
Oh. The Torah University, New York Medical College Medical Halacha Annual.
Yeah, it's a very prestigious halachic medical journal.
They misspelled anal.
Say it again.
They misspelled it. They spelled it. Oh, never mind. Yeah,
So it's like Amar
very
Rava.
impressive. Very impressive. Wow.
Havi Yasivna Kamed Rav Nachman.
Wow.
Rava was sitting in front of Rav Nachman. When Rav Nachman elucidated the principle that if during a transaction somebody was moichel, let's say he was overcharged, undercharged, he was moichel, even if it was a mistake, you don't reverse it. The mechila remains a mechila. Uboilu svi oino, and Rava wanted to ask him a kasha from Ona, but the oidik, he examined the laws of Ona and chazis and islandness. And he was shown the case of an islandess. An islandess, it's a woman who has a gender issue. Like Turner syndrome, which is a they have X only. There's no XX, no XY, it's an X. And they have a distinct anatomic character, and they don't develop maturity, so they can't have children. But you may not know, so they have delayed menopause. Excuse me. They have delayed menses. So they haven't had their period, like they're 18 years old. But you're not considered an islandess unless you go half your life without having your period. So when you're 35, you're declared halachically an islandess, unless there's other signs and symptoms. And then if someone married such a woman, the husband could get out of the marriage. It's like a mekach tos, because he married a woman he wanted to have children with. This woman's incapable of having children. So it's like buying something on false pretenses. So we'll see how islandness resolves the question. Because Rava wanted to say, Vare oina, the mechila betos he. So at the time of a transaction, somebody's overcharged. He doesn't even know he's overcharged. Velavia mechila. And there, we don't accept full mechila if, let's say, the guy finds out that he was overcharged more than a 6, he can get his money back. The oidik chazis and islandess. He was shown the din of an islandess. What's that? Hare islandess mechila betosi. When someone marries an islandess, he might have been moichel at first, but that was an accident. He was a mistake. Yet have a mechila. It's not. Hamim ma'enes. You have a girl under the age of 12 that her mother or her brothers married her off. That kiddushin is only rabbanon. And as long as she doesn't reach maturity before she turns 12, she can walk away. That's called miyun. Ashniya krovis mishpacha sheikras ish midriv chachamim. Let's say to Isha, a shniya is a secondary erva that is permitted to marry midaraisa, but the chachamim said you're not, like a grandmother. And then islandess is this case where we said she's genetically incapable of giving birth. in all these cases, it's considered a mekach tos. And when they go out from their husbands, Elan lo ksuba, velo peiros, doesn't get peiros from the field that the husband ate. Velo mezonos, velo blows, she's not providing mezonos or clothing. So the Baal ate peiros and he doesn't have to return it, even though the marriage was betos. And we say that the wife was moichel to him on what he ate. So lo hi lo anavia tiyufte, lo ayin islandness besile. Oinoa is not a kasha, and islandness is not a support, because they're different. Lo ona tiyufte de lo yoda de isoina, the mochel gave. At the time of the transaction, he's not even aware that he was overcharged, that he should be moichel. So you can't really call it mechila. And the case of islandness does not support Rav Nachman, because there's mechila. She knows what she's doing when she's moichel. It's not by accident. The nichale, the typical shma de ishus. She likes the reputation of being called a married woman. So he doesn't have any problem with the fact that the husband eats peiros and she doesn't demand that it be returned. So there was a woman, the Amri Leilahi Gavra, who told a certain man, Zil Zavin li Arami Krivai, go buy me land from one of my relatives. Ozil Zavin law, he went ahead and bought land for her. So the one who sold it to the Shaliach told him, if I have money later on, because now I have to sell, I have no money. But if I come up with money, will you return the field to me? What do you mean? You and that woman are relatives. You can come to some compromise. And Amr of Barvu, Kol At v'Navla Achai, Amr Sam Chadai, V'lo Gomer Matni. And we assume that a compromise will be reached. But so he's not makna the field, b'shlemis. Ara hadra. So we said that in these cases where it's a mistake, the land goes back. What about peri? That the buyer was eating meanwhile. Is it considered ribis ktsutza, v'yotzim b'dayonim? Is it like ribis deraisa and the dayonim can take it and give it back? Oidilma avak ribis hi ve'en yotzim, and Bezin cannot reverse it. Amar Ravuna mistavra avak ribis. It's considered avak ribis, and Bezin can't bring the money back. Amalei abayla rabba. What about mashkanta? Somebody borrowed money and gave a field as a mashkon. And the lender goes into the field and ate peiros. But they didn't have an agreement about it. My. Do we say also time in my mishum de lo kids? Why were there avak ribis? Because they didn't set a specific interest rate. Ochanami lo kitzle. So therefore it's just avak ribis. Or we say maybe by a purchase we're lenient, but by a loan, maybe we have to be concerned more about the appearance of ribis. The reason why it was not considered ribis tutza because they didn't define a specific amount at the start of the agreement. Here else, we don't know how much peiros he's going to eat. It wasn't a set number. Amrav Papi, Avid Ravina Uzo Chashav Akbid Peri. Ravina, as the judge, he removed peiros that the Malva had ate. Shelo kedas Rabbi Rav Huna. Aramar Breid Rav Yosef Mishmei de Rava. Hi Mashkanta. The lender took a piece of land as a collateral, and he's eating payros. Ba'asr de Misaki, in the communities where the borrower, if he gets money at any time, there's no prepayment penalty. At any time when he gets money, he can give money back to the guy who lent the money, get his field back immediately. So Achol Shir Zuzi, if the Malva had eaten exactly the amount of money that he wants to return, so we see that the fact that he ate payros is like he's paying back the loan. Achal Tfei, if he ate more though, lo mafkina minei, we don't make him give all that extra fruit that he ate back. What he ate. And lo mechashvin mishtar l'shtara. Let's say this borrower had a star that he owed money with this malva, and he had another star. We don't say that the fact that the malva ate more fruit, it's partial payment for the second star. Each loan is unique, and we don't deduct, cross loans. Where do we do it? B'diyasmi. If it's in the state of Yomi. If he ate payros and it's exactly the amount of the loan, the field is given back to the Yomi. If he ate more, let's say the loan was $1,000, but he ate $1,500. We take another $500 from him. And mechashvina mishtar l'shtar. And we'll let's say the other star was $1,000 loan, we cut it down to $500. Now that you told me that in a regular case, not Yomi, if the malva ate more payros than the value of the loan, so Achal Shir Zuzi, if he ate exactly the amount, Nami lo maskin below Zuzi. We don't get him, just the payros is not enough. The guy has to pay him the money. My time. Because throwing him off the land without him getting paid money is like Beis Din being moitzi, and we just learned by Avak Ribis, Beis Din doesn't have the right to be moitzi money. Avik Ribis. And Avik Ribis, and in Yoitzim B'dayonim. And that's the halacha. Ovid Rav Ashi Uvda, B'yisomim Ktanim Kigdolim. Rav Ashi treated Yisomim like adults, because it was Avik Ribis, which is not Yoitze B'dayon. Amar Rav Breid Rav Yosef Mishmei de Rava. Hi Mashkanta Ba'asher de Misaki. In those locales where they would give the land back to the borrower if the malva had eaten fruit from the field to the value of the loan. Lo nechel ela ben l'chayosa. There has to be a deduction. If he's going to eat fruit, there's a deduction every month. Let's say the loan was $1,000, he ate $100 worth of fruit this month. The loan now goes down to $900. and continue. Vahala vahala. Servum Rabbana fil b'nechias al nechel. A Talmud Chacham, even if they, now remember, this avoids the problem of ribbis. If the lender would eat fruits from that field, and then he gets paid back the full amount, then all the fruits that he ate is a benefit for them for the loan. That would be interest. So a Talmud Chacham wouldn't even enter these agreements where he ate fruit and they deduct the value of the fruit from the loan. He also wouldn't do it. He was machmir. So el b'may nechel, would a Talmud Chacham ever eat? So yes, bikitzusa. They arranged for, he was allowed to eat a certain amount, which was designated at the time of the agreement. And they would deduct it. That's good according to the opinion. It says it's permitted. And where do we see this machlokas? The itma. Kitzusa, pliga baravacha bravina. Chadamar kitzusa sharia. Chadamar kitzusa asira. Now hechi dami kitzusa. Exactly how do they set the amount? The Amar lay ad chamesh shanim achilnu lo b'lo nechiyasa. It would say the first 5 years of the loan, I'm going to eat payros without a deduction. Mikan ve'elech shamin l'chol kulu peri. After 5 years, we'll do an estimation, and even the first 5 years of payros that I eat, and it'll be deducted from the loan. Iked amri kol b'lo nechiyusa aser. If you don't deduct the loan from the beginning, it's completely prohibited because it's ribbis. So, but what's considered echidami kitzusa? Just the opposite of what we just said. The first 5 years, we deduct dollar for dollar all the fruit I eat from the loan. And we calculate all the payros I ate afterwards, and also continue to deduct from the loan. So manda asr b'kamaisa sharbi basraisa. The mandama that asr, the first example where there was no deduction the first 5 years, he would permit the second case because there's a deduction. Manda asr b'basraisa, the one that prohibited even in the second case. So echi shar lemechel. According to that mandama, there's never a permission to eat. The Gemara says, no, there is. It's called Mashkanta de Sura, a Syrian Mashkanta. Kasri Boachi was written they would actually calculate, let's say, a 10-year period. He eats a certain amount per year. And at the end of those years, he'll get his land back and he wouldn't have to pay any money, and goes back to the original owners. And all the money of the loan would be paid back by the eating of the pears. That's called the Mashkanta de Sura. It's set up initially. Rav Papa Ravuna Breder of Yishomer Tervayu, Hi Mashkanta Ba'asher de Misalki. This type of Mashkanta where we throw the lender off of the field when the loan is repaid, and it's not considered at all like the property of whoever is holding on to the collateral, i.e. the lender, and therefore ein bal chov goyve mena. Another creditor cannot come and take that piece of land away, who's holding on to that mashkom. And ein abchor notel bo pishnayim. A bechor only gets pishnayim of something that's muchzik. This is not considered muchzik. And shvius mishamta. Shvius wipes away loans. So this chov will be nizbatel when Shemitah comes. We don't view it as if it was pre-collected. Something that's viewed as pre-collected, Shemitah will not affect it. Now, Ba'asher Delo Misalki, in communities where they would not, meaning there was a prepayment, that means if someone got their cash at year 3, not year 10, and he could get the communities where you were a Misalek, that means there was no prepayment penalty. You didn't have to keep your loan going for 10 years. You could get rid of it after 3 years. But there were localities where even if the borrower would get money, he couldn't pay off his loan and get his land back. You have to wait the 10 years. In those cases, the piece of land that's being held as collateral by the lender is considered musik. Therefore, Baal Chov Goyveh, meaning if this lender has other creditors, they would be able to take that piece of land away. And if the guy dies and leaves a bechor, that piece of land is part of his pishnayim, bechor notel pishnayim, and it's considered not. It's the chov is not even considered a chov anymore. Therefore, shmita ain't shvis mishamamta. Shmita doesn't wipe it away. Rav Papa. Hi mashkanta ba'asra the misalki. So we have a piece of land as collateral. We have a community where if the borrower got money, he could show up at year 2 or 3 and get his land back by paying off early. So misaki levafilu mitamri duvidita. The borrower could pay him back not just with cash, but with dates. Dates that are drawing on maths. You don't have to pay with money. Something that's money value you can get your land back by paying off the borrower anyway. V'yagvinu b'sisni kanano. And if the lender picked up these baskets that had these dates and he's already coined it, he belongs it, and he gets it right away. Ulamanda Omar, Caleb Shalokech B'Shusam Moicher, that these baskets belonged to the buyer, not to the seller, but it was in the reshus of the seller. Kana Lokech, Lokech can also acquire it. Afilu delog vinu b'sisni, even though they were not lifted in the baskets, kanonu, because he was already given these dates when they were still on the mats. Now, pshita basra de misalki. It's very clear to us that in the locales where they would get rid of the malva with payment earlier than the term of the loan. The Omar and the lender said at the time that he loaned the money, lo mitlakna, I don't agree to that. So he didn't agree to that condition. He therefore cannot be paid off early to be thrown off the land. And that t'nai remains. The shaila is ba'asra delo misalki. In communities where they did not throw the lender off the land early, they waited until the end. But at the time that he gave the loan, Amar mistalakna, he says, I will be willing to, if I get my money back early, I'll give the land back. My. Do you have to do a kinyan on that or not? Is amira enough? Or do they have to sort of validate it with a kinyan? Rav Papa Amar lo tzarich lemikna. You don't need a kinyan. Rav Sheshes ben Rav Yomar tzarich lemakne. V'hilchasot tzarich lemakne. You need a kinyan. Amar. Eisel v'eisi zuzi. If the borrower says to the lender, hold on, I'm going to go and get money, so I can get rid of, I can pay my loan back I get my field back. So at that moment, loy ochel, the lender has to stop eating fruit. That statement is like already he's being thrown off the land. However, if he'd said, not oizel v'ais, I got to go to the bank and get the money. He said, oizel v'atrich v'ais. I'm going to go and do some business to try to raise the money. So that's not money in hand. There's a machlokas. Ravina Amar Achol. The lender can continue eating payrolls because we don't know for sure the loan is going to raise money to pay him off. But Marzutra, brother of Mari, Amar Loy Achol. He has to stop even with that. V'hilchasa shaloy achol. We're careful with this issue of potential, it looks like ribbis, so we have him stop early. Rav Kan and Rav Papa Rav Ashi lo achli b'nechiyos. They, even though they would enter into agreement where any payrolls they would eat would be deducted from the loan, they didn't do it. They were still choishish because of ribbis. But Ravina achol b'nechiyos. Ravina did eat payrolls, and while they were deducting the amount that he ate from the loan. Amar Marzutra, my time at demand achol b'nechiyos. What's the svara of Ravina that he eats? So midi da'avi ste'achusa. It's similar to having an ancestral field that if a person is magdish, his ancestral field is de'achusa, he can redeem it from Agdish. He has to pay 4 zuz every year until Yoivel, and then he gets his field back. Ste'achuza, lafal gav de ka'achel perituva. Now, even by a ste'achuza, and he eats a lot of fruit during the years. Rachmana kaparik la barbazusi. There's a fixed amount, how much he has to pay the base of English to get his field back, even though the fruits that he eats are worth more. Achanami loshna. Since they set up a special amount, it was it's like a defined benefit plan. And we don't know for sure if any fruits are going to grow or not. So then it's a devar mutter. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. So these are the classic sugis of Nezer Neshech. These cases of deducting and setting up the cases that the halacha felt was appropriate and was not appropriate.
What time are we going to learn tomorrow?
So let's see, how long did we take today? Okay. I suggest we learn at 7:00 because mincha's at 7:30, and that way we can learn the tzorba at 8:00, and then we don't have to learn at 9:00. Maybe
Okay.
let's do it 7:15. Gives us a little bit more time to get to mincha and everything like that. Does that work for everybody?
Okay,
6:45? Okay, good.
Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
Have a good night, everybody.
night.
Good night. Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.